Right into August we go. Well, in August, the THI ebook finally came out with not as much fanfare as we would have liked due to certain issues arising, shall we say. But that should not be allowed to take away from all the people who had an input on that assignment in various guises, be it writing the chapter, compiling links, the artwork, the design and the layout work, all done by people who have never met each other. You know, people from all over the world coming together and working on a project and delivering something that's just a little bit special. A tiny bit, as we would say in our show. And so special thanks to those who contributed to it, like Amy, Zenja, Marcel, Jen, Michelle, John, Truce, Dennis, Jess, with other notable inputs from GU Shift, BA, Marjolaine, Michael J, and also Perla. You will all enjoy it immensely and provide further backup and insight to the work that I've put into the shows. It's over 300 pages packed with knowledge, links, depictions, and so much more. And I'm proud of all who participated in it. And it shows what can be achieved with a desire, belief, and willingness to develop not only the self, and I'm sure all the individuals got much out of it and went beyond their own expectations, but as a collective also. So thanks to you all. You can all view that in the files section in Facebook and MeWe under the title Heart of the Matter. The clowns early August found out, boy did they not like this, that there are no more black screens for them to access. That's the back access point of the banking system. That was fun that week. And their back doors into mobile phones, banks, the deep web, the dark web, and other backdoor services were also taken away. And then I put forward, did you know that the deep web was accessible via online banking websites? Oops. Kim was contacted early August following the black screens going down and other things that had been done by an intermediary to discuss a potential contract agreement of releasing some funds, of which this particular group said they would do, but wanted to control it. No surprise there. And the negotiations would be on their terms. All discussed without Kim's knowledge, I might add, but she was informed later. Now, following the discussion, the person offering the deal then went to London to talk with his bosses to facilitate the processing of the deal. And then we found out who the London bosses were. They are called the World Government Council, and they have ran Rusland for many, many years up until 2016 when the peace treaty was implemented. Well, the peace treaty negated and closed all non-human entities, trade deals and control, except this group, it seems, or so they thought. The World Government Council ran out of London, UK, are all reptiles. These are your dark magician beings with the black robes and red sashes, the same group that operates under the Vatican. And the message to them is, we know who and where you are, and we will act again on you all, not just the two of your group who were taken out last year. And we left them with this cryptic message. Some people sing like a canary. Some take the canary out. Connect Canary with the UK and you may find a location. They promised to release $100 million for projects, but on their terms they failed to state what their terms are, which is indicative. These types of groups operate on the premise they facilitate something and then demand in the deal favours in return. It's a bit like how magic, black or white magic works. You don't know what the favour or return is, or the cost or the price. And favours with them can involve anything, and punishable by death should you not fulfil their favour or wishes. And we gave a message to the generals globally: do not engage these beings. They are dangerous and psychopathic, but they have nothing to offer us. And we will not be negotiating with reptiles on their terms under any circumstances whatsoever. We are not interested in what they offer. We are not required to engage them in any way, shape or form. Their power and control over humanity ended in August 2016, and reptiles are no longer playing the lead role. They can go and lay an egg or suck it for all we care. But let it be known here on record, we will not be kowtowing to any reptile ever again on this planet. Any future deals with those groups will be on our terms, not theirs. And it will not be done via intermediaries, governments, generals, contractors, or any other agenda-driven groups either, just to be clear. You all know who to contact, and we will be clear in our intentions. The deals will be what is best for the species designated as the rulers of this planet, humans. Your days of looting, harvesting, consuming, and killing us are over. Nice trying to send the Dorsey after us. That failed as well, and you will pay for that. And they did. The Draco Queen arrived again and appealed to the clowns, following M's old programme to stop their games. And they refused, and so they have pulled all support of that group away from them. So the Draco will no longer be assisting them in their games any further. This is a massive move and is welcomed. This will leave the clowns and the other beings intent on playing, essentially swinging in the dark under their own steam, as their isolation here now increases and their control now over anything diminishes rapidly. The media merry-go-round. I was trying to find detailed information on who owns mobile phone companies, and it was like trying to plait custard. All too familiar, as these groups hide behind shell corporations so the public doesn't find out who is who. Verizon is 45% British owned, and then comes under Bell, which is supposed to have not operated for many decades, and yet Verizon and AT&T both have Bell as their part owners. Bell is OSS. And the reason being for this is that Bell AT&T comes under military contractors rule under the 1934 Telecommunications Act. In fact, the US military owns and controls all airways frequencies, including cable. In fact, all forms of communications run through the US military. Trump can stop this. There's a number of loopholes. I read the whole document. There's a number of loopholes that can end that nonsense. Spectrum, of course, is the latest big player, having bought out Time Warner Cable and Bright House under Charter Communications, who went and filed bankruptcy in 2009 and yet still remain a big player. In 2018, SoftBank, who mainly owns Sprint, now own 5% of Charter as well. SoftBank are a Japanese company. And the question that we posed that night and remains, with 5G rolling out, is it not necessarily the frequencies that are of concern, but the fact our main suppliers in these fields of all communications are all non-American? And is that not a question of national security? And why is the US military still controlling all of our frequencies and bandwidths? All banks in and beyond are beyond dire straits now. The Treasury is in negative liquidity. That got worse. China only had 300 million left. It's now less. And we warned several times it's all about to collapse. Hardly any money transactions are moving now behind minor amounts. Larger amounts, not so. Banks are frightened to release larger amounts as they will run out entirely. Citibank has been stealing from customer accounts and sending it to Shanghai on the promise of the now, quite frankly, ridiculous notion that they will be paid out by the RV. McFly, despite it failing for the past 12 years. They seem to be experts in failure. As predictable as night follows day in their world, and the Clinton death trail rolls on, even when people are in prison, it seems. Jeffrey Epstein, the disgraced millionaire who was facing federal sex trafficking charges, died by suicide, or is it arkancide, early Saturday in August in his lower Manhattan prison cell. Now, according to the Portal people, Epstein hung himself, and the law enforcement confirmed it. Well, they would. They're all run by the same corporations. Why? But one has to argue, why was he in prison in New York, given most of the perpetrators are from there also? Plus the fact that the NYPD is run by Citadel Vice, which is like the enforcement arm of the Clinton Foundation. And that story rolls on. And then we exposed Walmart. In the hour that it takes a new Walmart employee to earn the $11 an hour starting wage, the family that owns the retail giant has banked $4 million. In fact, the third generation heirs of Walmart founder Sam Walton have amassed $191 billion fortune to top Bloomberg's list of the richest families in the world. And that has grown by $39 billion since the Waltons topped the list last year. $39 billion profit in a year. The report reveals that the Walton fortune increases by an eye-watering $70,000 per minute, $4 million per hour, or $100 million per day. I guess they need a lesson from the People's Club of need, not greed. Now, following recent claims of violence between races in America in August, I decided to go and fact check for myself. And it was not an easy task, as figures are in part missing on almost every site I went on. Given that the Portal people and Go Ogle and their algorithms are running programs of divide and conquer is why. Now the graph outlines 3 different groups: white, black and Hispanic. White crimes against other people brought up figures of 82.4% crimes of white people was against their own colour. 84% of white crime was against their own, 82%, was against their own colour. 7.8 against Hispanics and 3.6 against blacks. So the majority, 4 out of every 5 violent offences of white crime was against their own colour. Black violent offenders, the highest, was also against their own colour of 40.9%. Next was against Hispanics, 38.6%, and whites was 14.5%. Hispanic violent crime was 50.7% against whites, 40% against Hispanics, and 4.7% against blacks. Now, the conclusion from this is only the Hispanics attacked another colour more than their own. Both black and white people attacked their own people more than the other two. Although black on Hispanic was only 2.3% below their own colour. Now, the highest rate of all the categories was white on white, 82.4%, which goes completely against the narrative being put out by the portal people and paid crying actors on the news channels, does it not? All violent crime is unnecessary and serves no purpose whatsoever. But I did this piece so people can see the media are spinning a narrative that bears little resemblance to the facts. Particularly given there was an attack on Hispanics and the El Paso narrative in August. Black and whites combined figures of violence against Hispanics is 22.3%. Combined. And yet Hispanic figures for attacks on blacks and whites total 55.4%. Over double. And yet the media was running stories that the Hispanic people were terrified of white people. Figures tell you different. Then we did an update on the 39 species that are below our feet, that they had had several meetings between themselves, and old wounds and fighting amongst them are being mended, healed and dealt with. So much so they are now trading with each other and setting up meetings of how all can help each other with their daily needs, be it food, technology or general help. From our perspective and mine, it is wonderful to hear an example of how things can be overcome with a bit of effort, flexibility and a willingness to fix things, no matter what the odds were against it. Then there was a couple of pondering lines on lots of talk of healing machines again and healing beds. Clown operator Jared Rand on the internet. And also people asking for replicators. And I asked people, do you realise most machines are replicators already? The healing machines are replicators. And you want to know what they are replicating? You. Something else to ponder for all those concerned over 5G. We have a raft of 5G and we're all going to die. If you're concerned over 5G, have you all got rid of your mobile phones yet? If not, why? Ruth Bader Ginsburg, born in born 2, was treated for a tumour on her pancreas, according to a court spokesman. Justice Ginsburg has tolerated treatment well, and a tumour was treated definitively, according to the court spokesman. She then undertook 3 weeks of chemo, which ended on Monday in August. And on the very same day, she was wheeled out to the public. All sounds very Weekend at Bernie's to me. Then we had a Fed meeting in Jackson Hike, Wyoming, and a G7. Following much debate and discussions within those meetings, the only thing we garnered from it so far is the Fed was pushing fresh air tokens, crypto, and that no G7 leader was buying it. That continues, by the way. And the questions again, we asked again of the crypto and Bitcoin people, do you still think you are getting around the system with both the Fed and the IMF, not to mention Facebook, pushing it? And also several rogue alt media as well. Then the Asians came in with a deal, except yet again they pulled the same stunt as they have done previously with fake gold, and again no one was buying it. Contradictory statements. There was a lot of contradictions. Contradicting my contradictions. Let's drink that. Well, wasn't that fantastic last week? I know some didn't like it, but some have had a humour bypass, I think. But it's the contradictory statements of we the people that I wanted to focus on. And I said it's not a criticism or designed to pick faults or make you feel bad, but general observations of where we can look at things differently. Banks are stealing from us, people say, yet people still bank at Wells Fargo, Citibank, Bank of America, Morgan Chase, JP Morgan, Santander, Barclays, Lloyds, Royal Bank of Scotland, RBC, Royal Bank of Canada, and HSBC. 5G frequencies are destroying us, people complain, and yet people still have mobile phones and microwaves. They are killing us with pharmaceuticals, yet people still buy and take their drugs. They are destroying our plants with GMO, yet people still buy them. We need organic food, yet only the few buy them. Amazon are destroying businesses, yet people still purchase from them. Walmart are destroying businesses and encourage low pay, yet people still buy from there. Governments are destroying us, yet people still vote for them. Charities are cabal and taking loads of funds and it's not going to the causes, yet people still send them money. The courts are corrupt and against us, yet people still go into the same courts to argue against their system. Vaccines are bad for our children, yet people still agree to them being vaccinated. Schools are teaching children rubbish, yet people still send them to school. The mainstream media is rubbish and fake news, yet people still watch it. Hollywood is full of pedos, yet people still watch their movies. Disney is full of pedos, yet people still buy their merchandise and attend their parks. There is no such thing as zombies, yet billions want a man to return from the dead to save them. Everyone asks, where is the plan? But don't give you a plan. The chemtrails are killing us, yet people still go outside in nature every day. Our water has been poisoned, yet people still drink it without filtering every day. People ask for change, yet stay in bad relationships, jobs, towns and cities they don't like. People ask for sovereignty, yet won't be sovereign. The IRS is stealing our taxes, yet people still pay taxes. Black lives matter, and yet the highest violence rate is black on black. People say they love all people and then complain about immigrants. People complain about plastic, and then Americans alone purchase 42.6 billion 1-litre bottles per year. People love cats so much, yet why is it 3.4 million cats are thrown in shelters each year, of which 80% of them are treatable, of which 1.4 million a year are euthanized? Poor kitties. These are just a few examples we could all look at and change our ways. But whilst we're on a contradictory theme, let's have a listen to this. You will all remember this classic piece of entertainment in late August. Designed by Kingdom of Mana game players, Soul Tribe Sanctuary leaders, and the Copy and Paste crew. Said to be the final proof that I am a rogue and a scammer, but it all spectacularly backfired to much amusement from our members. Here is a reminder.
Q&A session was great because all of the questions from the chats were asked and answered. What I've been saying to the Aussie group when we were all together was that I wanted answers. And I wanted to know why everything was such a secret. And if he's so busy and Kim's so busy, tell us why.
So I answered all the questions and I gave all the answers. And then it was such a secret. So please explain this in part 3. And no, the opening of this part is not a copy and paste glitch or a Norman Collier sketch.
What's happening? What's progressing? What can we do? Nothing. Sorry, that's operational. I could say a lot more about what I do know, but I won't. And it's not a secret, but it's just not worth wasting my energy on.
I can't say any more, but it's not a secret. So if I don't reveal plans, it is a secret. But she doesn't reveal things, it's not a secret. Getting confused yet? You should. Perhaps I don't reveal certain things to certain people because I don't want to waste my energy on people who do nothing, get nothing, and fail to understand anything presented. Touché. A quick reminder there, first statement again.
Q&A session was great because all of the questions from the chats were asked and answered.
Oops. As we always say, time reveals itself. And it did, spectacularly. And a future email from Jennifer kind of left Kaz out on a limb, whilst merrily hid in the background to that piece. Kaz, another one riddled with envy, another one who is contradictory, another one who failed with fake allegations and made herself look stupid, and another one who failed to bring down the tiny man or the tiny show.